Hello friends, this is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and I am very excited to introduce 3 new characters, and I use characters in quotation marks. Really, it is 2 new characters and a ship. Now, very excited guys, the 3 characters we are going to be getting in this latest edition of the game are Childish Lando, the sassy L3, and the old new Millennium Falcon. Now in this video I'm going to be showing you some random footage of the gameplay that I've taken of these different characters in different levels and different game modes, kind of see them play out and see how they perform. Now I am very excited about this because these are 3 new characters, but to me personally I am stoked to get a new droid. I am a fan of the droids. I am very excited. But really, I am seeing the Scoundrel faction really develop, and I think that is pretty freaking sweet. Now, I'm going to start off with Childish Lando. So, the idea here is Lando is going to continue to be the smuggler, you know, and that prepared mechanic is going to continue to play a huge part in this character and in these new tunes. Now, his basic ability is pretty positive. Potentially allowing him to stack 5 times in rapid succession, which can't be countered, which is pretty freaking sweet. His basic attack is called Silent Shot, and it reads, deal physical damage to target enemy and inflict potency down for 2 turns. This ability deals 25% more damage for each prepared ally. If young Lando's turn, or if it's young Lando's turn, enemies can't gain buffs or bonuses during this, or bonus turn meter during this attack. Now that's really nice and a really cool ability if this Lando is attacking, I don't know, Stormtrooper on, right? Pretty nice, pretty sweet, because that means those characters won't be getting that ability, won't be getting that extra turn meter bonus, which is very impressive and very, very nice. Now it does continue, it says, this attack also cannot be countered. Now they're doing that a lot lately. They're throwing a lot of uncounterable attacks, and that's not necessarily just for out on his turn. This attack can't be countered, which is nice, and it's pretty awesome. But I'm curious to know how it's going to play out. Now, his first special ability, Hot Hand, has a 14 turn cooldown, and it reads, deal physical damage to target enemy and inflict ability block for 1 turn. At the end of each round, there's a 50% chance for each debuffed enemy to lower the cooldown of this ability by 1. So what's cool about this is if a lot of different characters have debuffs, then this turn meter is going to go down quite a bit, and it plays into the fact that, Lando's a gambler, and Lando's the I don't know, he takes risks, he takes chances. Now, are you willing to take a risk or take a chance with that character? And I think it'll really depend on what people find with this character, right? How does he work and play with others? Now, his next ability is called Dealer's Choice, and dispel another target ally, grant them stealth and potency up for 2 turns. Young Lando gains 50% turn meter. So this spends prepared, which then reduces the ability cooldown by 1 and grants that ally preparation, and then all prepared allies gain speed up. And I'm curious to know how this is going to play out. I don't necessarily think that Lando and L3 are going to be the best together. I think they're going to be effective together. I think they're going for that dynamic duo, but I think that there will be other duos and other teams that Lando will play on more effectively. His unique ability, Perfect Timing, reads, if young Lando is buffed, he has a plus 15% critical chance and plus 15% critical damage. Additionally, if young Lando is prepared, he has an additional plus 15 critical chance and plus 15 critical damage. At the start of the round, or young Lando's turn, he has a 40% chance to gain preparation. Not 50, but 40 is still pretty good. Additionally, for each debuffed enemy, he has 50% chance to gain 50% preparation. That's going to be a lot. I mean, that means he's going to have preparation constantly and consistently, which means he's really going to be hitting very, very hard, which on his basic, if you can get him to hit, you're going to be dealing a ton of potency down. You're going to be dealing, you know, they're not going to be able to do turn meter reduction or gain turn meter, you know, so kind of a turn meter manipulation mechanic there. But really, I'm curious to know how effective he's going to be. I think potentially he has the potential to be a really heavy hitter. And I think on the right team, he can be very effective. I haven't found that right team for me yet, but I think he's going to be good. Now, moving on to L3. Like I said, L3 is an interesting character. Whether you like her in the film, whether you don't and you like her, I get it. I see how good she can be a divisive character. But if you take that out and just look at the character they've given us, I kind of see L3 as this droid Barriss Offie. And maybe I'm wrong, but let's kind of look at that. She's a tank to protect your smugglers. She has a number of really cool abilities. These abilities can be stacked. Definitely health is going to play max health is going to play a major role in this. And she becomes a very powerful tank to defeat. I've been toying around with her in the second phase of the Sith Triumvirate raid against Scion, because L3 has some pretty awesome abilities. Her basic ability is called Beatdown, and it deals physical damage to target enemy and inflicts defense down for 2 turns. If L3 is prepared, she gains 10% max health, stacking until the end of the encounter. Now here's the thing, guys. They don't have a limit to how much that stacks. That is just a solid stacking ability, which means L3 will likely be the last character that you have in any raid. Her first special ability is called Hustle, and it deals special damage to all enemies and gains taunt for 1 turn. If she's prepared, heals all scoundrels and droids for 30% of L3's max health, then grants all prepared allies, which again, if scoundrel, tenacity up for 2 turns, and reduces this ability by 1 if any other allies are prepared. So if you have a team full of scoundrels, this is a very effective tool. This is a very effective ability, and if it's an ally, if it's a team full of scoundrels, it's going to reduce the cooldown by a lot. You're going to be able to use this pretty much every other turn, especially if you have a Lando on your team or a young Lando. Because of that, you know, he's constantly prepared. Very nice. Keeping in mind that it increases or it heals allies 30% of her max health. Because of that stacking ability, it's really going to heal a lot. Now, her first unique ability, that's right, first unique ability, like clockwork. At the start of L3's turn, L3, if she didn't take damage from an enemy since her last turn, she gains prepared. So that's how she officially gains prepared, amongst other ways. When L3 takes damage from an attack, dispel debuffs from a random debuffed scoundrel ally at the end of the round. Whenever another droid or scoundrel ally takes damage from L3, L3 gains 10% turn meter. The first time each other droid ally is reduced to 1% health, they equalize health with L3. Now, I really think that this is going to be a very phenomenal team. It was fun to play around with BB-8, with R2, with L3, because that's a really functional team. I'm curious to know who on this team is going to be the real powerhouse. I'm trying to find a way for this team to be the most effective droid team out there. It's just really hard to see whether or not it is. This is where the cool ability, self-modification. Now, L3 is that character who was like, hey, here's a droid piece and I want to augment here and I want to augment there, and she's really assembled herself to be what she is when we see her in the movies. L3's final ability, Self-Modification, her final unique ability, L3 has plus 5% tenacity. When L3 becomes prepared, she gains taunt for 1 turn. In battle, L3 gains a new special ability, MK1, which means L3 gains preparation as well as 35% counter chance for the rest of the battle. This ability may only be used once. So once you have it, you've always got it. Level 2, she gains preparation as well as 30% critical avoidance and plus 100% defense for the rest of the battle. So she becomes that much more of a tank. When this ability becomes enhanced, it becomes enhanced to level 3. Now level 3 reads, L3 gains preparation as well as a 65% counter chance for the rest of the battle. This ability may only be used once. Now this may have been updated to a 50% counter chance to a 100% counter chance. What essentially it comes down to is when she has all of this, she has a 100% counter chance. When she's hit, she gains taunt often and she equalizes health with a lot of characters. This is a solid tank. I'm very, very excited about this. I'm not going to spend much time on the Millennium Falcon right now. I do want to make a ship video later on with this, but it is a really cool ability. The idea here is it was Lando's ship, and because it was Lando's ship, Lando's the pilot. Because Lando's the pilot, he needs co-pilot, L3. Boom. Basic ability is called Double Down, deals physical damage to target enemy with a 70% chance to gain defense penetration up for 2 turns. If the Falcon already had defense pin up, grant it to another random ally for 2 turns. Now that's a basic ability. That means if you use this Millennium Falcon, it is going to, like, as an assist, this ability is going to be very beneficial because it's going to continue to give characters defense penetration up. Now, Crew 1, Lando, Crew Ability 1, this is for Lando. It's called Buckle Up, deals physical damage to target enemy and inflict offense down for 2 turns. This attack deals 50% more damage against a debuffed enemies. L3's crew ability is called Calculated Enhancement, deals physical damage to a target enemy and dispels all buffs on them. The Falcon gains 10% critical chance stacking and 10% offense stacking for each buff dispelled until the end of the encounter. That's pretty freaking sweet. The unique ability is called Coin Toss. Millennium Falcon has a 10% critical damage for each enemy without buffs at the start of its turn. The Falcon has a 50% chance to dispel a random ally debuff. Dispel a random ally debuff, target lock a random enemy, and inflict speed down on a random ally. These effects can't be evaded or resisted. Now, the idea is that this is still a gambler, right? And sometimes gamblers take chances, and those chances, sometimes they pay off, sometimes they don't. Now, the reinforcement ability is enter the battle, copy all buffs on all ships for 2 turns. The Millennium Falcon takes a bonus turn for each reinforcement previously called in by the capital ship this encounter. Reset all cooldowns on this ship at the start of each bonus turn. Now that is going to be very, very powerful because what you're going to see is it just continually going. This is a crazy cool ship and I am very excited to see it in action. But with that, leave a comment in the section below, like, subscribe, share. This has been Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and as always, my friends, stay nerdy.